So after a mighty fight to get these adapter plates off that somebody had put on to adapt the 5-lug tires onto this 6-lug axle back here from the original truck, had to drill all of those out because they torqued the Allen bolts on and then proceeded to continue to torque them until they were completely stripped and there was a nice round hole instead of Allen hole. But the shackle bolts, shock mounts, everything is off. This rear end is loose, so I'm gonna wrestle this 2-ton axle out of the back of this thing and go grab that 10 bolt and get it slung up on these leaf springs. This hole right here that centers on the pin on the leaf spring is about 2 1/4 inches back from the center. So I'm gonna go in here and let's get some light in there. You can see where that pin is. So I am going to measure 2 1/2 inches forward from the center. And then I'm going to drill a hole in this plate somewhere in here. And then that pin should drop in. That should leave this right in the same spot that it was before. And then instead of using the bolts that just went through this plate into this plate, we're going to run a full strap over the whole thing. Okay, here's the new rear end, all put in place, bolted in. I'm gonna pull this cover off, get the axles pulled out because the new brake kit has arrived. This is our new brake kit from Summit, showed up today. 2 brake cables, flexible brake line. So it's a Summit kit, but it's right stuff, frickin' parts. Cool. And this piece here. Look at the directions. You might not have to pull the axles again.
Nice.
Yeah, these nuts have little indents in them, and that makes this like a lock nut. So when you put them on, make sure you have the undented side, and you can start to get the threads on. You know you're not cross-threading the bitch. Alright, I had a pretty decent day yesterday. I got the rest of the rear end put together. Rear brakes are now installed, so he's got some good discs back there. We got that cool Mr. gasket cover put on the diff, Everything's looking pretty nice under there. I've got one more brake line to run, the flexible line that actually runs up to the rear hard line in the truck, and that will be ready to go. And the last thing left to do up under here is that, believe it or not, copper tubing right there is the maintenance man's filler neck, which apparently, and I can see why, when the new owner goes to fill this truck, he basically has to dribble the gas into the tank because this little 1.25 inch piece of copper tubing just isn't enough for them to be able to actually put a fuel nozzle in this thing and just let it run and fill this tank. So we're gonna drop this tank down. Hopefully it's not completely full of frickin' gas. And looks like we're gonna have to move the exhaust around a little bit to do so. But I've got to see what kind of mess we got in the top of the tank up there where this is attached, and if we can manage to get a larger tube in there and run it up out this hole he's got in the fender. But yeah, we should be able to figure something out. And then this thing can finally come on the ground. We can deal with getting that nice pretty motor put in that we just painted. All right, here she is, folks, all painted in Buick red that we picked up from KBS. It's always a good thing to do. I mean, it took an hour to tape this thing off and spray it. The coating that these things come out of the factory when they're remanufactured is simply just a coating to keep them from rusting during shipping. This thing would have looked like crap within like a month or two of it being on the road. And you're never gonna have a chance to get these things coated like this again without completely disassembling the motor and taking it out of the car. So this would be a nice complementary color to the outside of the truck, especially with the satin black engine bay and everything getting smoothed out. A lot of this will be covered with the march pulley system, headers, you know, the dual quads, the intake, all of that, but what you can see will look fantastic. All right, it is time to finally start gutting and getting everything removed from this engine bay that is going to be in the way for the new heat, the new motor, the new transmission. Get these pedals that are no longer going to be used out of the way, and basically just start cleaning this mess up. Alright, so crap ton of rivets under there holding this thing together. Got all of those out. And this cross member is still wedged in there, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it in half. Alright, finally fought the cross member out of here. Did a quick little wipe down of the dust. Cleared the paint off of any of the areas that I think is going to be needed for welding the new motor mounts into place. This motor mount will be a little bit fun because we're going to have to build it, bridge it around the steering rack, but that'll be fine. But before we do that, get this off the engine stand, get the transmission, torque converter, all that stuff attached, valve covers off, and get some nice chains good and centered over the top of the block, and we can swing this in and figure out where is going to be the nicest place for it to sit in here.
I'm gonna push the button, 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 push the button.